Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Joe and Joe Weather Show on this Tuesday night, the 2nd of February. I'm sorry, the 9th of February. It's the second
Second
month.
of February?
Yeah, no, I know. Stop. It's Groundhog Day again. The 9th of February, 2021. And the Joe and Joe Weather Show brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware. Still doing cleanup here, folks, on Long Island. They got no place to put the snow. It's 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, 631-756-1125 for the best prices on town and in town. Plenty of rock salt and all the snow melt products that you could possibly imagine for upcoming winter weather events. So head to Omni True Value in West Babylon. OmniTrueValue.com is the website. And we'd also like to welcome our new sponsor, which is Holiday Lighting by Giannini at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst. 631-957-5106 is their telephone number. And whether you want to plan ahead for the next holiday season, or maybe you want to become somebody that decorates homes, you can go to Wholesale Holiday Lighting by Giannini at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst, 631-957-5106. Okay, Mr. Rayo, uh, how much did you get?
About 2.4 inches.
there
That's
were
it.
there were a few upside surprises. Paul Roman said I think he got 5 up in Ulster County. So there were some places that did fairly well with this. On the other hand, I wear the cone of shame because, well, this is when something like this happens and you like snow, you start to think that the gods are working against you. This morning, first off, and Bill Uber can who's on the chat board. I think he's still on there. He can verify this. Uh, the low this morning was 11, and when I got up this morning, a little right around 6 o'clock, it was 15. Okay, 15, Joe. Didn't not a
Okay.
I didn't see a flake or an ice pellet. Just rain. it
How is
just
that
it just
possible?
rained.
Wow, that's
Now Bill's. I went down, drove down to the South Shore, so it warmed up faster there. I had things to do on the South Shore, but Bill was who lives very close to me. He messaged me and told me that he had ice pellets. So if had I been at the house, I would have seen an ice pellet after enduring 11 degrees for a morning low.
wow. Well, we had snow beginning. Oh, let's see. When did it begin? Probably sometime before
Well, it's
5:30.
always best that it start at the beginning, and then you follow the yellow brick road.
Yes. Well, 5:30 we already had a quarter of an inch, according to my wife, who was up at that hour looking out the window and looking at the driveway and the deck. So it must have started before 5:30, maybe 4:30 or even 4 a.m. And it was still going at a pretty good clip, Joe, until about, oh, I'd say about 4 o'clock this afternoon. Then it finally wound down, got a brief poke of a little bit of sunshine through the clouds before it set at 5, and that was it. So we were able to get rid of a lot of today's snow, and maybe more to come in the next week or so.
Well, yeah, these these last few days, and I'm guessing, excuse me, the next few days, looking at models from run to run has actually been rather very interesting. They were always interesting, but now it's like really interesting with everything that's going on, and it just feels like something it's going to some sort of tipping point with regards to all these systems running around. I still don't have a good sense of where we're going to be at for the weekend and for next week. The one thing I will say, and I think you'll agree with me on this, that there are a number of systems in the pipeline here, and each one is going to have an impact on the other in terms of what the outcomes are. That's probably the best we can say at this point.
I've looked at both the GFS and the European ensembles. They have a storm about 300 miles or so southeast of New York on Sunday morning, Valentine's Day. And you say to yourself, well, okay, 300 miles or thereabouts, that's pretty well offshore. Doesn't look like it's going to give us very much, might brush us with a little bit of precip. And then I think back to the storm in December and the storm of early last week,
Hmm.
and where the ensembles at this point in time had those two storms well off to our south and east. And we really didn't think that we were going to see all that much. And with each passing day, the storm track got a little closer and the storm intensity got a little stronger. And well, you saw what happened
Right.
in December and January. So my thought is, what does that storm for Valentine's Day hold? Will it really be so innocuous that it's not going to provide us with much, or will it just continue to get closer and closer and stronger, and possibly give us some, as you would call it, maybe an upside surprise by
Well,
the end of the weekend?
and we've been watching the regular GFS taking lows up to the Great Lakes, which in this pattern just seemed really kind of preposterous. Then it was the west side of the Appalachians, then it was the east side of the Appalachians, and today it's basically just off, offshore, just offshore, off the
Mhm.
Virginia Capes and Northeast. So, yeah, I just, and plus we have these two lead weak system, quote unquote weak systems. This one, if you use New York City as a center point, this one basically went north of New York City, and now we've got the one for tomorrow night into Friday morning going south of New York City, and yet I was looking at some of the late afternoon guidance, the RGEM model, for example, the HRRR model. I pulled up the plumes from earlier today. I was actually shocked to see that they were giving, it's not a lot, but they were giving an inch and a half, inch and a half of snow from the southern system tomorrow night into Friday morning, which I kind of thought that, at least from what I was looking at yesterday and today, that was just going to sharp cut off somewhere just south of New York City, and that we wouldn't see a flake or an ice pellet. I'm starting to wonder whether there might be a little bit, just a slight northward push with this system tomorrow night and Friday. And I say that only for selfish purposes, because it'd be, we're not talking about anything more than just a dusting to an inch or so on the northern flank, but South Jersey, southern Pennsylvania, southeastern Pennsylvania, down into Maryland, Delaware, Virginia, they're not only going to see snow of, I think, several inches or more, but they're going to see snow from start to finish. They're not going to change over to sleet. They're not going to change over to rain. It's one of those rare all snow events for them.
Hmm. And there could be quite a bit down in the Washington, Baltimore area. If everything falls into place, it could be anywhere from half a foot to maybe more, believe it
Yeah,
or not. And for them, that's, if you get a half a foot in Washington or Baltimore, that pretty well paralyzes both of those cities for a day or so.
yeah. I never quite understood that, because they do on occasion get big storms in those cities. You think they should be able to at least deal with it, but I don't know. I'll leave it to them. Awesome Gaming on the chat board. We haven't seen Awesome Gaming in a long time. Nice to see you, sir. And he hit super chat, no less, too. He said, good amount of ice and snow coming for Oklahoma and very cold wind chill. That's the other big story, too, is the brutal cold in the plains that's pressing down into from the northern plains down into the southern plains and into Texas. So there's going to be some snow out there. Major icing that'll be going on in the lower Ohio Valley across Kentucky and into parts of West Virginia. We're going to take a look at what that's part of that system coming for tomorrow night and Thursday for the Mid-Atlantic states.
Chris O'Shaughnessy on the chat board says, used to wake up to Joe Rayo on WOBM. I did WOBM from 1980 to 1995. I think you did WOBM
Yeah,
for Alan Casper from time to time,
yeah.
right?
When I filled in for him in the late, was it, I don't know, but 2008, 2009, 2010, right around that time.
They have a relatively small um, area where you can hear that station, WOBM AM and FM, but they have a big listenership, and it was great doing the weather with Steve Paul and Kevin Williams. In fact, Kevin we used to do the show sometimes at 5:30 in the morning, and the first part of the show was called Coffee with Kevin. And we were able to do all sorts of crazy things at that hour of the morning. So nice to have somebody who remembers from all those years ago, WOBM. And Joe, this is an auspicious weather day in New York City history. 3 events taking place on this particular day, February the 9th, of note. First of all, back on this day in 1934, the coldest temperature of all time, 15 degrees below zero, reported at Central Park. That was 41 degrees below average.
That's
And
crazy.
when you factor in, and you say to yourself, it must have been a radiational cooling sort of setup.
It wasn't.
No, believe it or not, there was a breeze of 10 to 15 miles per hour that morning. So the wind chill was somewhere between 35 and 40 below zero in Manhattan, in New York City. The mercury was 10 below zero or colder for 8 consecutive hours. It was 0 degrees or colder for 16 consecutive hours, beginning at 9 p.m. the previous night. And by 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the temperature had recovered to 8 degrees above zero. And
And then a
today,
couple of days later, it rained.
it,
Can you
and this,
imagine that it rained? I think it was raining. It got to 40 like three
well,
or 4 days later.
temperatures jump really fast sometimes in New York. Today's reading of 15 below on this day in 1934 usurped the all time previous record low of 13 below on December 30th, 1917. This is also the day of the infamous Lindsay snowstorm, which was supposed to be mostly rain, a little snow, and then some rain. Never changed over, had over 15 inches of rain, 14 inches today, 1.3 inches in the wee hours of February the 10th. And of course, this almost toppled Mayor John Lindsay in his reelection bid later in the year. Central Park snow cover from this storm lasted for the rest of the month. And one that you and I remember, Joe, because we were working together 4 years ago on this day in 2017, the day after a record high of 62 degrees at Central Park, winter returned with a vengeance the very next day with 9.4 inches of heavy snow, mostly coming between 6 a.m. and noon, temperatures in the upper 20s, near blizzard conditions. Snow fell at the rate of an inch or more per hour. And snowfall was by midnight, temperatures had fallen to the upper teens across most of Long Island and the Hudson Valley in Connecticut. Snowfall was in the 12 to 15 degree range. And this drastic change of conditions exceeded that of February 1 and 2, 2014, when 8 inches of snow fell the day after a high of 56. But the day before this near blizzard, and again, we often refer to this, the day before, a record high of 62 in Central Park, and the next day, almost blizzard-like conditions and almost 10 inches of snow. Amazing.
And I think too that was the most snow we've ever had the day after a temperature that high. I guess that's the easiest way to say it.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, it
Like I
was.
said, the previous record was in 2014, February 1st and 2nd. 8 inches of snow fell the day after a high of 56, and we beat that by 6 degrees in
Right.
2017, the day before.
And it was something. And on Facebook, on my memories on Facebook, the Snowmageddon storm where I measured with my yardstick, and it was between 32 and 33 inches on my front lawn on the grass, was popped up today. So uh,
That was
that was a great storm.
that was a Friday night.
Yes, and
And how many they had the cars that were stuck, or they had to shut down the Long Island
yeah,
Expressway?
just east of me because it snowed so hard. It was snowing at 4 and 5 inches an hour for hours.
Yeah,
So we basically put down 33 inches in about 8 hours. It was just an incredible storm to experience and to forecast, which was fun too. Winter weather advisories are up. You can see the stripe there from northern Texas across much of central and eastern Oklahoma. In the land of awesome gaming, who's on the board tonight. And that purple you see, those are ice storm warnings up for northeastern Arkansas and a small portion of northwest Tennessee, southern half of Kentucky, all across the state. We have winter storm watches that are posted for West Virginia. I'm a little surprised that they don't have winter storm watches up yet for Northern Virginia and for Maryland based not I'm not saying I would put them up. I'm just saying I'm surprised based on the snow amounts that they're forecasting for that area that they didn't and that the snow is going to start 24 hours from now or just a little bit more than 24 hours from now that they didn't put up a winter storm watch. But I don't know. It could be because the last two events where they had watches and warnings up in that area, the amount of snow that came down was below what was forecast. So maybe everybody's a little gun shy for putting it up. I don't know. I don't know what the reasoning is. Maybe I shouldn't speculate about it, but um, they do have uh, snow amounts. Now, this is what's being forecast for the first low that is coming through. And we're seeing amounts generally on the order of a couple of inches across southern Pennsylvania down into southern New Jersey. And then, of course, you see some 4, 5, and 6 inch, a couple of 6 inch numbers up in northern Virginia. There's even an 8 in western Maryland there. And it goes down lower when you get to Richmond, Lynchburg, Roanoke, Blacksburg, a couple of inches down as you go further south. But this wave is going to this frontal boundary gets to buckle again, and there'll probably be some additional snow later Thursday night into Friday to put down another couple of inches on top of it. See if I can get this. The Weather Service digital map has been really problematic today, the last couple of days. So it's been slow to load, but you can see some of the numbers that have populated already. So they add a couple of more inches to Washington and Baltimore with 6. Maybe that's the reason why, Joe. Maybe because the two events, there's going to be a pause in between for a short time. So rather than treat it as one whole event, maybe they're looking at it and say, well, maybe we'll put winter weather advisories up because the snow's going to stop, and then we'll put up winter weather advisories again when the snow starts up. That's the one other thing I could think of.
A couple of times I can remember here in New York having, let's say, winter storm warning and already been posted for our area, winter storm warning for tonight and tomorrow, and then winter storm watch for
Yes,
Thursday.
yes.
That happens every once in a while.
Every once in a while, you have overlapping where the storms are close together. Doesn't happen too often, but it does happen sometimes. In this particular instance, we, we see on the satellite loop tonight. The first systems uh, we were talking about on the order of according to a few inches with some local upside surprises. I think that played out pretty well. The amounts though are going to be higher when we see them tomorrow when they come in across Massachusetts. They had winter storm warnings up for that area. They'll be coming down soon if they have they taken them down. Yeah. Looks like they took them down and they just went to a winter weather advisory at this point. And that system moves out, but you see the clouds that are streaming now across the plains, the Central Plains, and into the western part of the Ohio Valley. So we're seeing that next little shortwave moving through, and that's going to be generating some precip. Here's the latest radar from from Boston, and the last of the snow is now moving out to the east. And we'll go back and we'll pick up another radar site. Let's take a look at the area nearby. I'll pull up Dover, Delaware, so it's all done here. And just really quick, let me just pick F5 weather. See if I can pick up the whole U.S. radar here, so we can see where else we got precip from F5 weather. They've been very kind to let us use their site and their radar images. You can see a precip that's out in the west with rain in California and even into parts of southern Utah, a little bit of rain because all the cold air is basically from the east of the Rockies and particularly up in the northern plains. Otherwise, just starting to see a little activity breaking out in western Tennessee and in northeastern Arkansas. So that's a prelude to the potential icing that's going to go on. And the precip shield for the next 7 days is substantial across the mid-Atlantic states, the Southeast, the Tennessee Valley, and across the Gulf states. Several inches of melted precipitation being forecast in some areas. Obviously, the heavy stuff's on the rain side, but even on the side where we're seeing where the cold air is, you're seeing substantial amounts being indicated on the order of an inch to an inch and a half. So if that's all going to come with temperatures below 32, we're talking about a serious ice storm situation here that's developing for parts of Kentucky and Tennessee and maybe even into parts of West Virginia, Western Virginia, and Western North Carolina. So Ice storms are the worst, Joe. It's like I would rather have 2 feet of snow to dig out than to deal with an ice storm.
Absolutely. And it looks like, Joe, that that swath of ice could very well extend from, let's say, from Wednesday night to Thursday night, from Arkansas right on through the southeast corner of Missouri, western sections of Tennessee, as you mentioned, most of Kentucky. Oh, good goodness! I'm going to tell Renata to call her cousin who lives in Kentucky, and although she probably is already aware of this, stretching into West Virginia. So that's going to make for an icy, dicey situation tomorrow night into Thursday night. And then we've got the system coming in for continuing eastward for Friday into from Thursday on to Friday across Virginia and portions of North Carolina, northern North Carolina. Again, another icy situation. So it's going to be a skating rink across portions of the Piedmont and into the Tennessee River Valley over the next few days coming up.
Yeah, I put up the ice accretion forecast from the Weather Service, Joe. Half an inch or more of ice accretion, and I'm sure there are going to be pockets in here that might have 3/4 of an inch or even an inch. That's a lot. That is a lot of ice if that's the case in a large area of at least 1/4 of an inch. So basically, Joe, we're going to see an ice storm from Bedford, Tennessee, clean to Cincinnati.
Daddy.
And also some ice on the order of 5/100 to 1/10 of an inch in northern North Carolina and on, as you said, in the Piedmont and also into southwestern Virginia. So, and let's not forget too, we've got a 1/4 to 1/3 of an inch ice accretion in parts of Arkansas, and up to 1/4 of an inch in parts of eastern Oklahoma. And you can see lesser amounts as you get down with ice just north and west of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They're kind of on the edge, which with regards to the amount of ice is concerned. WPC on their 72-hour probability of at least two. I'm sorry, not the probability of at least two. The 50th percentile. So this goes by inches. So half the time it's above and half the time it winds up being below. So we'll just split the difference. They actually have, Joe, the inch line running to about central Long Island to the New Jersey-New York State border. So I thought that was kind of interesting, or at least the cutoff line. It'll be meanwhile the light green is 1 to 2 inches, okay, and the darker green, so that's a coating to an inch in that lightest green. Then 1 to 2 in the lighter green. The darker green, we're looking at 2 to as much as 4. And then in the blue area um, of the big wheel, you have 6 inches plus in terms of snow. So northeastern West Virginia, western
That's a pretty
Maryland.
big area.
Yeah, it
Right?
is. It is. And again, this is cumulative. So it's 2 systems that we're talking about here. And let's look at the weekend because WPC was kind of busy on their map. Now, I found this really strange, and I didn't get a chance to see why, but take a look, Joe. They have a 10% chance of at least 1/4 of an inch of the liquid equivalent of snow. Well, it'll be snow. So about 2 to 3 inches of snow. They have it for whatever reason. They have a 10% chance from the central New Jersey coast of Sandy Hook and along the south shore of Long Island and over Nantucket, Hyannis, those islands, and near Cape Cod. This is for Friday into Saturday. Honestly, I don't know why. I didn't look to see why they're doing this, but they like to put those little odd spots here and there every once in a while. And then we go to Saturday. So Saturday they have a pretty large area of 10 to 30, and they started coloring in some 30 to 50% probability of at least 2 or 3. And it goes from Indiana and Kentucky across West Virginia, Northern Virginia, all the way up into Northern New England. So that kind of tells me that they're thinking this is going to be a big system, but it's also, there's a bit of uncertainty on their part as to how it's going to play out. So I think they kind of broad brush this in a vague way. And still on Sunday, some lingering there, 10 to 30, and you see 30 to 50% chance up in eastern New England before this all pulls away out to the northeast. And then on Monday into Tuesday, they start to develop all of this. back through Kentucky, Tennessee, southern Indiana, Illinois, western Virginia, western North Carolina, even down into northern South Carolina, North Georgia. Where's Jess Harden? North Alabama, northern Mississippi, and a 30 to 50% chance in a small area in central Arkansas. So that's with another system, by the way. That's for one after Sunday that may be on the table.
Going to be a busy next 5 or 6 days, no question about that. That's why we're still here.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I'm gonna bring up the upper air.
I think this is our day. What? This is day 10 for us, right?
I
10
believe
straight,
so.
10 straight
Who would
days.
have thought? I was told by a lot of people that winter was over back in January.
Yeah.
You know, I could have planned a vacation. I'm glad I didn't. As it is, I had to drive back all the way up from Georgia, all the way down from Georgia. I saw more snow there than you saw up here while I was there. So, as we last left our lovely little world here with a big blocking high, I mean a super powerful big block on the in the northwest Davis Strait between Greenland and those islands up there, and of course you see the polar vortex that's over Lake Winnipeg, uh, getting basically pressed southward, and we've got this kind of broad bullish flow that's like that. So in there are some of these weak upper air disturbances, these weak short waves, and of course we saw one play out today as that produced some snow. That's that bulge you see on the upper air that goes into eastern Canada. And then that actually makes a 50-50 low out there on Thursday. And then, of course, the polar vortex is going to continue to just rotate around. And here comes another trough that swings into the middle of the country. And then part of that lifts up. So I guess that's the Sunday system. And then there's another short wave, and that's this one down here. Whoops, let me get rid of that. That's this down here. And that's something that the models are bringing eastward for, say, Tuesday of next week as it lifts on up. So just an active pattern and a lot of cold air around, and how that cold air sets up is really going to be key to what happens here. I don't, as I said earlier, I don't have a good grasp of things in terms of how this is going to play out on over the weekend, and even the system for tomorrow and Friday, for tomorrow night, Thursday, and into the second part of it for Friday, in terms of what it'll do to the Mid-Atlantic states. I just don't have a good handle on it. I don't know if you feel differently, but I'm just having a tough time with it.
I think, as I said, that the system that we're looking at for later in the weekend right now, based upon all the ensemble products, is going to be just giving us a glancing blow. But so far this winter season, we have been seeing how storms that have been, for 4 or 5 days in advance, have been put at a certain distance out over the ocean, have just managed to work their way slowly but surely back toward the coast and give us more than what we had anticipated initially. And that's why I'm looking at that Sunday system, that Sunday morning system, and saying to myself, boy, if it does trend closer to the coast in the days to come, we may have some interesting weather here Saturday night into the first part of Sunday. We'll have to wait and see. And before that, of course, the systems that you spoke about, Joe, that looks like they're going to be more south of us than anything else. But yeah, a lot of things to look at. And what was basically and by the way, in the United States as a whole, the contiguous United States, January was one of the warmest Januaries. 2021 January was one of the warmest on record. And here we are looking at a February that looks like, I'm not going to say it's the coldest on record, but it certainly is a lot different. It's on the other side of the spectrum compared to where we were at last month.
Why don't you got the share screen? I got the share screen turned on for you, Joe. Why don't you load up the European? And in the meantime, we could take a look at least at these next two systems, and it goes out to 90 hours, which I think will take us into takes us into Saturday. Maybe we can gain a clue from the new European run, because the old European kind of went, the operational on the old European showed that low for the weekend being out, just like out, further out to the east. and it was putting more eggs in the basket of the one behind it for Tuesday. So maybe we can get some clues. Sometimes with the last week, I noticed that when the European made a few shifts, the NAM followed with those shifts in the very next run. So again, maybe we can get some clues out of that.
Well, I'm doing the sharing right now. I'm just getting this up. So here we are at Zero Z Wednesday. This is, well, just about 1 hour ago, according to this is now the European that was initialized, as you can see, at 18Z. It only goes out 90 hours, but it shows you the moisture that we had today in our little minor weather event that brought you nothing and brought me a couple inches of snow, Joe. And then as we move things along, out it goes. In comes, well, basically, it looks like a nice dry day tomorrow. Temperature is probably a bit on the cold side for this time of the year, but still dry with a fair amount of sunshine. And then we start watching the first of these two minor systems. All of this down
Hang on,
here.
Joe. Hold on. I'm sorry. I didn't switch the now I could switch it. Hang on a second. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Go ahead. Now it's up.
Okay, so what do I have? Are you seeing
The European's up now.
Okay, good.
I'm monitoring the chat board in the meantime. So go ahead.
All right, so just backing up quickly, here's the system we had today. That's moving on out. Now we have drier air moving in. Should be a fairly decent day tomorrow with temperatures seasonably or a little tad on the unseasonably cold side with readings hovering around the freezing mark. And then we have this next system that's coming in, passing mostly, it looks like, to our south. That'll be for tomorrow night into Thursday. Incidentally, what you see here, this is like 1/100 to 3/100ths of an inch. I don't usually count that as any precip, at least on these trogs.
It might be a loft.
It might be a loft, but certainly some cloud cover. But as you can see, the green, which corresponds to at least 0.15 or more inches of liquid precip, it takes a dive well to our south. It looks like it could very well, as you mentioned, Joe, bring South Jersey and up to maybe about Central Jersey, Toms River, some snowfall. But again, look where we are. We're literally on we're skirting the northern edge. Maybe Long Island might see a bit of flaky weather out of this Thursday morning, and north central sections of Jersey, maybe south of I-78. And then as we continue, that quickly moves on out. Look at how it jumps. Look where we are at 7 a.m. on Thursday morning with clouds, some minor precip up here, more significant stuff to the south. But look, in just 6 hours, that stuff just really rolls out quickly to sea, dries things out for the afternoon hours on Thursday. Then it's no big deal from later Thursday into Thursday night. And then we have another system, as you can see here. Whoops, hang on, whoops. Down here over the Virginias, and you say to yourself, okay, where's that going to go? And that one looks like it's going to skirt, again, mostly south of us. It looks like it's going to envelop the southern end of the Delmarva Peninsula, northern sections of Virginia, might give a glancing blow to Washington and Baltimore. We're fairly much out of it. Then that slides off to the south. We move into Saturday. Saturday looks pretty good. And that, unfortunately, is as far as the 18Z run goes.
Can you switch on the 90 hour? Just switch to the U.S. view. I just want to take a look at that.
Sure. Operational precip. Let's look at it from the U.S. point of view. So there we are. That's Saturday.
So that's all that stuff that's in the Gulf of Mexico.
Right.
So that's going to be your Sunday low. I mean, looking at where that moisture is, and where the high is, and how strong and it's also.
I know what you're thinking, Joe.
It's building into the Northeast that way. For one thing, it's hard for me to envision how you're going to take a primary up the west side of the Appalachians with that.
No,
I've seen stranger things happen, but you know what? I'm thinking it's pretty safe to say that it's not going to happen this time around. You kind of look at that and you think, maybe.
I'm circling right now, Joe, is 486 thickness, and you can see right here right here is 480. I
That's
mean, it's been a
brutal. I mean, that is brutal cold.
it has been a long time since we've seen an air mass like this. And I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. This almost has the look, and see if you want to agree with me. This kind of has the look of pre-President's Day storm 1979, with the
Yeah.
extremely cold air down here, and with the moisture building over the southeastern states. And if where is this going to all go? Is it going to get kicked straight out this way and miss us completely, or will it try to ooze northward?
Maybe the
You know,
axis of the cold air might have been a little bit further east. And so maybe if you shift the high a little bit further to the east, because if you remember, we were bitter cold. Those the days, and certainly the
oh
day
yeah,
before. I think we got down to zero that Sunday
absolutely.
morning. So I mean, it was
Yeah, and
brutally
I can
cold.
I remember upstate New York, up in the Adirondacks, there were reports of 30 and 40
40
below zero
below.
temperatures. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I mean, certainly the low levels could get very cold, and you see the wedge that builds down into western North Carolina and western Virginia. So whenever you see that wedge, that's telling you that cold air is damming on the east side of the Appalachians. So this is complex, uh, to say the least. I just want to. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just quickly just want to jump and take a look at the 12Z, United States. Let's see, operational, right? Let's go to 12Z and take a look at that same time frame and just see what they had. Where was it? Was that 0Z on Sunday? And that 0Z on Sunday, they had a lot more in the way of moisture working their way northward, practically up to us.
Right.
And then they start forming or developing some kind of a low here, and then by Sunday morning, that pretty well is moving on out, and we just get you know something,
This
but
is the
we
this is
don't.
the old 90. This is the old run.
This is the one from 12Z
So can
this
you
morning.
just put up the 90s? Just go to the 96 hour for a moment on this.
This is 96
This
hours
is the 96 hour. Okay. So
from the
now,
12Z.
okay, for 12Z. So now switch back to the new 90 hour. I'm just going to try
Okay.
to get a mental picture of this.
Well, you know what I could do, Joe? I could try to bring up this twice and put them side by side.
Well, please do.
Um, let's see if I could. Let's see if I
It's
could do
nice
that.
having somebody else doing technical stuff. I'm enjoying it. By the way, Okie KG said, uh, "I'll feed the cows and in the morning and have no appointments for a couple of days, so he'll be okay." From the ice in Oklahoma. That is very good to know. The cows are going to be happy that you fed them before you go into hiding from the ice. Although it doesn't look like it's an overpowering amount of ice accretion, as most of that's to your ease. But I'm joshing here. Uh, do stay safe, because ice storms are the worst. You just don't want to fool around with that sort of stuff.
All right, well, let's go. You wanted to see the 90 hour, right?
Yeah.
There's the old.
See,
Here's
the precip on the 90 hour, Joe, that's in the southeast is much further left than it was on the prior run, and the prior run was trying to take that low out. So I'm wondering whether the European is starting to sense, like the GFS, where we're going to take a low up the coast in some fashion. If we could have seen beyond 90 hours, which we can't.
I want to see if I could somehow manage to just flip flop. I'm just experimenting here.
Oh,
Hold on
please
for.
do. In the meantime, uh, I do want to. I think we got another super chat hit here. Let me take a look. A couple. Steve Lapointe hitting a super chat, and he reminds everybody to hit the thumbs up button under the video. And we do appreciate the 118 likes that we've gotten so far. And Awesome Gaming hit again for super chat. Good amount of ice and snow. Very cold wind chills this weekend. -20 to -30. Yeah, that cold air is really going to get pretty far down
Well, here
into
you
the
go,
southern
Joe.
plains. So
Here
you
you
got
go.
it?
I figured something. I figured it out. I think to a degree. This is the 18Z 90 hour,
Okay.
right? And here's the 96 hour from 12Z, and I could just flip them back and forth. You could see what we're talking
Yeah, you
about.
see, it's like you look at the old run, and the isobars have this sort of east-west flattish look to it. Then you go to the new one. So flip to the new one. There's a little more of a wedge down there, and it looks like the precip's just coming in, and it's, I don't know, it just sort of looks like it's pointed more northeastward rather than east northeastward. On the old one, it looks like it's about to slide out off the southeast coast. This
There's
one
a
looks
it looks like they're trying to start a low somewhere just off of east of Hatteras
right.
here on 96.
Yeah, and then
And
you look at the
meanwhile,
90. It's, the lowest pressures are actually down south of New Orleans. There's some,
right.
it's probably a bit of a coastal front that is developing along the Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina coast. But I don't know. I'm, and then of course you see where the cold air, you see the isobars that are also from the high, the way to the high, pointing straight down into Texas. This is a massive cold. This is a big cold air mass. It's just covering a whole lot of ground here, a whole lot of territory, from all the way back into the Rockies, all the way up into New England. So that's going to be a big player here. That's going to have a big say in what happens over the weekend and into early next week. No question in my mind.
And I've said it again, you don't need, everybody's saying, boy, I wish we had some of the major storm system coming. You don't need a major storm when you've got a high this big. All you need is a little perturbation to, interact with this cold air, and you could have a whole area of light to moderate snow just blossom in this zone here. And that may very well happen, maybe late Saturday night or Sunday. As I said, remember, the ensembles are saying that this storm on Sunday morning is going to be way out over here. But as we saw in December, and again as we saw a week ago, the ensembles were terrible in the fact that the storm actually ended up being over here when in actuality. So if we have one that's the ensembles are saying is going to be over here 5 days from now, that's still plenty of wiggle room for that thing to push back closer to the coast. And again, with all that cold air, Joe, we could have some fun here, maybe Saturday night into part of Sunday. We'll keep a sharp eye on that. Valentine's Day on Sunday, President's Day on Monday. Why do we always seem to have some kind of a significant event right around?
Well, it is a holiday weekend.
Yeah.
We'll see. Here's the GFS's view. First off, with the lead system for Wednesday night into Thursday, you can see that area of snow. Actually, on this run, it brings a little bit of snow to just north of New York City and Long Island. But the heavy that may just either be a loft, or if it does reach the ground, we're talking light stuff. And the steadier stuff will be South Jersey, Southern Pennsylvania. You see that band of ice that runs from West Virginia clear across Kentucky, Western Tennessee, Southern Missouri, Northern Arkansas, and into Northeast Texas. Then that area actually,
go
ahead.
No map on.
No, I'm sorry. I thought I put it up there. Oh, I got the wrong page up there. I'm sorry. There we go. There we go. Sorry about that, folks. What you saw was part of my software program that I'm using to do these live streams. Hey, you switched the show better than I did. Your stuff better than I've been doing. So again, so here's tomorrow night into Thursday morning, and that little thing goes out. Precip lingers in Virginia down into central Virginia, then kind of buckles again as we go into Friday over Virginia, Maryland, and southern Pennsylvania, southernmost New Jersey, and then that goes out. And now you start to see the beginnings of the Sunday system, potential Sunday system here on Saturday, where you start to see rain moving up to the Carolinas. And of course, one of the big questions for me, Joe, is on a situation like this is something we really don't know. We probably won't know for another couple of days. Is the model truly reflecting the amount of cold air, particularly at the low levels of the atmosphere? Is it really doing a good job? Because it may not be. And again, that's going to be something that we're going to have to wait till we get to maybe Thursday or Friday to get a good handle on. It's going to be really important with regards to the outcome here. And there's your low. Again, not that deep, just that there's a fair amount of moisture here off the Jersey coast, and then just kind of slides out to the east. And then here comes the next one behind it with which this particular run actually was pretty bullish here for an event along about Tuesday or Wednesday. Now, we'll see if that's there on the next run because now we're out to day 7. But it does speak to this what I've been describing as this bowling alley pattern, and we're the 10 pin, and we're just waiting to see which one of these balls that are being rolled down are going to either hit the 10 pin, or the one yesterday went to the north. The other one for Wednesday night Thursday is going to go to the south. For those of us, talking with respect to where Joe and I are, and then after that, maybe either the system for Saturday, Sunday, or is it the one behind it, or is it both that winds up hitting our 10 pin? We'll just have to we're just gonna have to wait till we get. I think we're gonna have to wait at least till Thursday to get even a slight handle on how this is all going to play.
Going to be interesting. Well, we'll see how it all pans out.
Fascinating.
I don't know what else we could talk about.
No, I know. I'm already exhausted. The chairman is he's not here tonight. I think he's out on COVID run, so we hope he is doing and he's being safe these days with COVID and everything else. Small rant. Can I do a small rant?
Okay, small rant.
Oh, small rant. So apparently, once again, so I'm gonna say this nicely. When you forecast a coating to a couple of inches, and you get a coating to a couple of inches, that is not a bust. I don't understand it, Joe. I really don't. There are some lunatics out there, really, because that's what they are. You have to be. You have to be out of your mind to think that a forecast for an inch of snow, and you wind up with an inch of snow, or maybe a little bit less, or maybe a little bit more, and you're running around saying people are hyping things, and this was a bust. Not every snow event is going to be a 20-inch blockbuster. Breaking news. It doesn't happen that way. So I just want to kind of, I want to get this off my chest. I'm actually really sore at one particular person, and he's very close to being banned off my Facebook page because it's gotten to where I can't deal with it anymore. But no matter. I just wanted to kind of get that out there.
Well, somebody had said that in Lower Westchester they got absolutely nothing.
Okay,
they
so
said, well, is it? And they actually said,
so
oh well, it was a busted forecast.
all right. Well, I think I may be referring to the same person here, just so you know. So if he's watching, you're about that close to getting banned off my page. I'm just going to tell you this. Go ahead.
The person who I'm making reference to, and I will not mention any names, but I pointed out, I said, look at my map from yesterday, and I had a line running from Yonkers to Port Chester, and I said everybody below that line would get a slush coating to maybe an inch. And I said, that's my CYA forecast. I said, just in case we get an upscale surprise and we get a little bit more than that. But basically speaking, I was saying that zone was going to get hardly anything, if anything at all. And as it turned out, that area got nothing. And he's saying it's the busted forecast. How could it be a busted forecast if
it's
not a little better than an inch, and you're alluding to maybe just a slush coating? I mean, come on. I mean,
it's not. Joe, you're making the mistake of thinking that the person actually read your stuff and really, seriously, because a lot of these people don't read it. They look at they pick out a couple of words. Then of course they go forecast shopping, and then of course they see things on other pages. They ascribe it to you. And then they say stupid stuff. And I think we had the storm in December. We had a couple of little things along the way. Then we had the big one last week. Then we had the one on Sunday. I think that I'm not trying to blow my own horn here or blow your horn, but you know what? The forecasts for all those storms were pretty good. I think they were pretty good. Did we get it all right? No. But did we get the flavor of the situation right? Yes. Did we get most of the area correct? I would say yes. Um, so I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. I just don't. And I mean, other than the fact that it's the ignorance of people. I also have this other theory I've come up with, without getting political, but just in terms of the environment that we've had on social media in general for the last last 4 years, but particularly the last couple of years, and certainly going into the last election. Uh, it's been relatively quiet since then. Okay, I mean, it really has. If you go on, there's not as much drama as there was, and I think that some people have gotten so used to either being part of drama or creating drama, have now turned back to the weather people, to, and they're starting to inflict their drama on us. And I'm just not going to stand for it. I'm just not. Uh, you're on my Facebook page. I'm putting up stuff there that you can read, that I'm taking my time to do. Okay, and it's for free. And you have the audacity to to be disrespectful. It's just it's just not. I'm not tolerating it. No, I'm not tolerating, and you're not tolerating it either. I'm putting your foot down.
Well, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to get me to what did he say or whatever. But yeah, that was a little bit of annoyance this morning to see that. And so I picked up, but some places that picked up, I think Spring Valley or whatever, picked up like 4 or 5 inches of snow. But I mean, like the more to the north, we said that further north you go, that's where you're going to find most of the significant snow out of this system, which was really no big deal compared to what we've been through over the last week or so. And
Yeah.
and we're giving you a little bit of a red flag alert here for this Sunday. We're going to have a couple of systems zip on by to our south during the rest of this week, but maybe, just maybe, something to watch for the second half of the weekend. We'll take them one at a time.
Yeah, and the other thing is too, if you're anticipating a couple of inches and it doesn't happen, get over it. For God's sake, what are we, 5-year olds? You didn't get your you didn't get your snow day, and you
Yeah.
have to go to school. Come on, stop. A few people were complaining because they were they forecasted an inch or 2 inches and I didn't see it. It's impossible to forecast. They never get it right. All this other stuff. Get over yourself. For God's sake, it's weather. We're here to have fun. When we do our show, when we're here, when we're with our folks that are on the chat board, folks watching at home. We're having a good time. That's what this is about. Have a good time. We all learn something along the way from each other. Um, and I don't want any, don't drama. Take your drama elsewhere. And
Back
by
to
the
you,
way,
man.
the chairman says, because he is on, and he says he's going to be getting involved with CVS and other drugstores with the vaccine next week, which is very exciting. And I agree. Very, very exciting news with regards to that. You're doing a good thing, Scott. Awesome. Uh, and do stay safe, please.
Absolutely.
Do
Uh,
stay
the
safe.
the
TC says
I-
give him a give them a pacifier.
pacifier.
I like that. I do like
Oh,
that. So
I
anyway, all right. Shall we wrap it up?
I guess we should. And I did not have a chance to say myself, but welcome to our new sponsor. We now have two of them honored.
Yes. Let me
And
bring it up full screen. We can say a big welcome to our friends at Holiday. My memory is terrible. I want to get it right though. Holiday Lighting by Giannini. Okay, and there you go for all of your decorating needs. They're at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst, 631-957-5106. I know it's 319 days until Christmas. I looked it up. I Googled it. But these days, folks, with especially saw it back through this Christmas, uh, get the house decorated. There was just, make everything look nice considering everything we had to deal with this year. So give them a call, or maybe you want to be one of those people that goes out and does this for a job to decorate houses for Christmas. give them a call at 631-957-5106. And of course, we cannot forget our other sponsor, which is omnitruevalue.com of 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, 631-756-1125. They have plenty of rock salt. They went through a lot, and they still have plenty of rock salt for the next, if we wind up getting any of these weather systems in the next week or so, for cleanup. OmniTrueValue.com is the place to go, and of course they have all the other snow melt products, and you're probably going to need a new shovel by now. If you haven't broken it already, you will very, very shortly. So yeah, it's nice. Again, welcome to G&E.
I went to one store. I went to one store about 4 or 5 years ago. It came on the heels of a protracted spell of snow and ice, and I ran out of salt or calcium chloride. I went to the local store, hardware store, and I walked over to one of the guys there. I'm not going to mention the name of the store, but they wear red aprons in this particular
Okay.
Hardware outlet. And I said, "Excuse me, can you tell me where the rock salt is?" And the guy looks at me, he says, "I can tell you where it was." That never happened at Omni, I'm sure.
No, they have. Yeah,
Sure.
I was there day before yesterday. I know I was there. Yeah, wait. Today's Tuesday, so I was there yesterday, and I was there on Saturday, and they got plenty. They got plenty where and more where that came from. So bear that in mind. All right, I think I'm starting to see us like the video getting
That's
funny,
good.
so we better say good
And we
night to
want to thank
everybody.
our viewers. 173 likes, and we all appreciate that. Thank you.
Awesome. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern Time. Good night.
Nighty night.